What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Man, today is really cold, and guess what? I'm still wearing shorts. So if you guys have seen the previous video, we did the subframe installation with the new rack and pinion. We also redid the brake lines and the prop valve, and that was like the main thing I wanted to do before we get the engine into the car. So in today's video, what I want to do is I want to work on getting the alarm block and transmission put together and then hung into the car, and just that, not the turbo manifolds or anything else. I just want to get it off the engine stand here out of the garage and just kind of hung into place so we can see the bigger picture. There's still a lot of little things I have to do, like the alternator relocation bracket needs a good sand down and paint, right? The rear engine mount bracket is still raw aluminum, so that needs a coat of paint as well. I also need to get the hood put back into the car just so I don't move it around one too many times when I need to get back over there. So that is the first thing to do. This kind of helps a little bit. So the car is pushed up much more forward. In the previous video I said 3 foot, and I pushed it up another 2-ish just so we can clear that and the water can go down the roof. Yesterday it was pouring so hard after doing the subframe that the water was literally just caked up all over this, and I didn't want it to go inside the car, which is why these grommets are in place. So with the car now pushed hella forward, you can't really see it because of the light. I'm gonna check the weather to see if it's gonna rain anytime soon, and if it doesn't, then I'll probably push the car back a little bit to utilize my lamp. Now let's get the engine off the engine stand. So the weather shows the rest of the day does not show any rain, and the next 3 days won't show any rain either. So I'm gonna pull the car back a little bit. Let me run this by you guys really quickly. The transmission and the alarm block is not painted. It is scrubbed down to the best that I could, and the reason for that is because that's not going to be the permanent engine to the car. The permanent engine to the car is over at KELLYBUILT right now, getting the piston and rods and the valve trains and everything installed, which we're going to be planting in here to turn up later. Right now we're just using that just to get the whole ball rolling, and then once everything comes back out, we'll paint everything to look good in the engine bay. But for right now, I just want to get this all put together into the car, and once the turbo manifold, charge pipe, all that good stuff goes in, you're really not going to see the cast aluminum anyways, so I'm not too worried about it. Right now, let's change out the rear main seals. I bought one the other day right here along with the release bearing. Let's get that installed. I want to give a big shout out to JL Welding Supply for the delivery of my new argon tank. Awesome to come on board with JL Welding, our local Bay Area supply guy for welding supplies, and they deliver throughout the entire Bay Area, and everything gets invoiced through email. So got my new tank of argon, and we can finally get back with some welding. Now, typically when you change a new clutch, it's always important to change out the pilot bushing and or the pilot bearing if you're B series or D series. So went to the Honda dealership and got this pilot bushing the other day. Give you guys a better look. This thing right here, you can see is all smushed, and got a fresh one because I don't have a brand new clutch kit, so it does not come with one. Part number 22103-PNA-003. I'm just getting it to sit flush. Put a piece of wood on here. Make sure it's nice and flush. So next up, guys, is the clutch installation. This time around, we're going to be running the Exedi twin disc. I got this from my homie Rodney. Shout out. I did a job for him and he upgraded his twin disc, so he was like, if you need it, you can have it. This clutch was actually put into the wagon while I was waiting for the new clutch to show up, and then once the new clutch showed up, we went action twin disc in there, and then this Exedi has just been sitting around. I remember when I put it in the wagon, I bought this new release bearing that came from Exedi's website, and I thought I had lost it, so I went and got a new one right here, national bearing, and it turns out it was actually in the box with the clutch. So I have a new release bearing I'm going to use on this one, and flywheel hardware. I know the other K series has flywheel hardware in there, but I remember buying some new ones for the wagon a long time ago, which I ended up not even using. So go through my red label box here real quick. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. Oh man. K20 flywheel bolts, brand spanking new. Yes sir. Flywheel hardware 911-PNA-BOO B00. So the hardware for the pressure plate, I'm going to red Loctite just a little bit, the slightest. Don't forget the little washer. I'm gonna torque this down. It may vary for different twin disc. This is like 20, it's like mid 20s. I'm gonna check online real quick, and then I'm gonna torque these Allen headed bolts down. All right guys, so online it was between 27, 29. I did it at 28 torque on the Allen headed bolts, and I had to take the clutch back out because it mentioned that you need to align the entire clutch plates in the paint marks that came from the factory, because that's how it was balanced. So I had to take it apart to line this all up, and now the transmission is ready to go on. Damn, battery died. I'm sure I mentioned this before. I'm going to run the RBC intake manifold, or at least try to run the RBC intake manifold. EF owners, you guys know RBC manifold on a K20 or 24, no matter the low or the high setting, this intake manifold angles so high that it actually comes out of the hood. I have seen a lot of people cut just a little bit on a USDM hood to clear the RBC intake manifold on the low setting, but because we are running the SIR style hood provided by Slimeball, I'm going to attempt to see if we can get the RBC manifold to work without modifying the hood. That means I'm going to drop the engine on the lowest setting, and that also means we're going to have to flip this motor mount in order to get the transmission to go lower, and that also means the rear motor mount bracket that I made is going to alter because we're going to be dropping it. So that means this bolt hole is going to move up. So this is probably going to be the last thing to install. Let's go ahead and flip this and roll the engine underneath the car. car move forward or something? So the engine is in the car, guys. Took me a little while because I was shimmying the engine left and right to align up the motor mounts and the bolts without touching the frame rail. I didn't want to put tape on it because the paint's still fresh. I don't want to peel the damn paint off the car. So engine is in place. We don't have the back mount in yet, but I'm wanting to put the RBC manifold on. I'm really curious to see how high it sticks out, how close it becomes to the hood, and it is on the lowest setting. You can see the bottom bolt is right there, top is exposed. So RBC manifold, let's try this. So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but it is a struggle to put the RBC manifold on with the PRB water pump housing. So I had to shave all of that off right there and shave off the side of the runner right here in order to put it on with the water pump housing in place. So check this out. Goes right on. Oh man, that looks super high. Not gonna lie to you, that looks cunty. Golly. I mean, it's hard to tell because none of the fenders and stuff is on right now, and the fender does sit a little bit higher. The engine does rock back enough, right? And that means the manifold will dip forward. So let me grab my jack and prop it. I'm gonna put this on the back of the transmission to bring it up, and about right there we do have a little clearance between the rack and pinion mounting point right there. So that's kind of where I would have the engine sit. Now that may change based off my already made motor mount, so if we have to, we'll probably either make a new one or add some more tabs to the current one. Oh shoot. Okay, well, I think that's actually going to work. Let me put the fenders on real quick and then test fit it with the gaps to the fenders. Very promising. I am super stoked. Very stoked. Very pleased with the SIR hood. Slimeball did a great job, man. This is stellar. I don't even use the word stellar, but dude, look, if I push down in the center, we're not touching the manifold, and look how flush we are with the fender. That's freaking perfect. On the other side, all the way down, dude, look at this. RBC manifold, EFK2 on the low setting. I am super stoked that I can use this manifold. This thing has been sitting for the last 4 years. It's been sitting in the back of my shelf, and now we're gonna put it to use. Skunk 2 70mm throttle body. This was on an 800 horsepower EG, and I'm sure this is gonna work perfect for the setup. Heck yeah. While there's nothing in the front of the radius support, I'm gonna see if I can try to get you guys a shot of underneath here. I don't know about you guys, but that's a lot of space. I think I'm gonna push down on the hood. Oh yeah, that is still a lot of space. I'm super stoked. Yes sir. So I'll pull the intake manifold back off, and I'm gonna reinstall the rear bracket just to see where it currently sits on the position that the engine is currently sitting with the jack up, just to see how much modification I need to do to the current bracket, or if I need to make a new one. So guys, we have the bracket installed in the wishbone. We have it secured down there, and if you look into the top hole, it's not that far off. right? But I don't want to modify the subframe mount. I think I'm gonna have to do it on the bottom. I can go about this two ways. I can cut the plate off, add a new plate, drill some new holes, or I can weld the hole shut and then re-drill it, because it's really not that far off. Let me switch the bolt around and show you how far off it is on the bottom hole. Now we have the bolt switched around. You can see down low the bolt hole. It's literally like halfway exposed, so I can technically just weld that shut and then re-drill the hole. Let me sit on this a little bit more and then we'll find a solution. We have the mount off with the wishbone inside. That's how much it's off by. I did mark the bushing right there to realign it, and the green mark is where the hole is supposed to be sitting. And if you look, I use a center punch right here to punch the center of that green hole. Can't really see it with the GoPro, but what I did was I took the washer, right, which is about the same size as that hole, and transferred it over here. I'm going to cut out this little circle, plug it, right, not all the way to where I did the center punch. I'm going to plug it, weld it, and then I'm going to drill that new hole out, right, and then I'm going to put the wishbone back in and then drill it all the way down to the other side, so it'd be nice and straight into the bracket and not crooked like I did the first time. But anyways, yeah, so I think that's what I'm gonna do with this bracket. I'm not gonna make a new one. I'm not gonna make a secondary hole because it's literally almost half a hole and I don't want to have it to be ovaled out. So I'm just gonna reuse this, fill it in, drill a new hole, go straight through, and then yeah, it's pretty crusty in there. So before I continue, I wanted to test fit the modification I did to the rear bracket. So you guys saw I plugged the hole and then I grinded it flat. I drilled the hole that I already marked with the center punch, drilled it through one side, not the other side, right? And just want to test fit before I drill it all the way through. So right now, wishbone is secured into the bracket. This one right here is secured to the subframe. This one is aligning the bracket while this one is fully tightened down. So you can see the whole wishbone system back here is secured. I'm gonna pop it off the jack real quick. We have like maybe 2 pieces of paper right there. I can see the light on the other side between the rack and pinion. I don't know if you guys can see that, right? So right now I'm gonna go ahead and just take it off the jack and see if it can swing down and also hold up on its own. So jack is out. Jack is out. Pretty solid, pretty solid. Okay, now it looks like we have more clearance to the rack, and if need to be, I can always grind the transmission off a little bit more. My flashlight is dying, but guys, rear T bracket, rear bracket is installed and modified. I'm gonna have to finish it up the rest of the way tonight, and then we're gonna continue tomorrow because I want to start putting like alternator bracket, starter, whatever I have for the front. We're not gonna worry about the intake manifold just yet. I did get all the brackets painted right here, looking fresh and uniform, as well as the radiator bracket as well. Come on, flashlight. Okay, well, anyways, just got back home from shopping, got some food, ate some food, and the bracket is now nice and dry, ready to go back in. Last night we finished the modification to the mounting points right here, and I got this nut welded on just so it makes it easier to install the bolt instead of trying to hold the opposite side. And this thing is pretty much ready to go in for, I hope, the last time. There's a hole right here in the back of the mount for a 12 mil. This one goes on first. $17 mil, another 17 at the bottom. So we have 3 bolts holding this bracket together. One from the bottom of the block to the trans, one that goes straight in the 12 mil to the block, and then the top 17 also to the top of the block. baby. Look at that. Look at that. Pretty solid. All right, next up we have the OEM starter. This was actually in the backyard in one of my totes that I completely forgot about, and then I was going to throw it away, so it was in this bin, and then I pulled it out and I was like, I'm glad I still have it because I don't have a starter. So this one right here uses a 14 in the back and a 17 in the front. I believe K24, K20, automatic or manual starter are all the same. I want to say this is automatic because it came off a K24, and well, guess what? It bolts right up, no problems. Next up, alternator, all of the hardware, and the bracket. We got one right here and the other one right here. Check it out, truck lined. I guess it's like another alternative to wrinkle. I mean, it looks good, right? Yes, sir. Can somebody explain to me why K-Tune hardware uses 3 different size Allen key sockets? Like, this is annoying. I ain't gonna lie. Now, I wanted to run the T7 Design Alternator Relocation Kit because this K-Tune stuff has broken on me 3 times now. I've had the aluminum bracket, the steel bracket, and yet it still breaks the bolts and everything in my water pump housing. This originally came off my KRX, and that car has the T7 designs on it. Much better design, works freaking awesome, looks freaking great, and I'm only using this because I already have it. Eventually, when I have the money, I'll buy the T7 Designs kit for this car because I know I'm going to be driving this car up and down the coast of Cali, and I want to ensure that my alternator is not gonna, you know what I'm saying, break off the bracket and stuff. So I'm going to be using this just for right now, and I do still need a belt for the system because when it broke on the KRX, I lost a belt on Highway 99 near Bakersfield, so I don't have a belt for it right now. I don't have the aluminum pulley, which comes with the kit for the alternator. So when I go and buy a belt, I'm gonna buy a 6 rib because the alternator pulley offsets it, where the pulley and everything lines up with the crank pulley itself. On the wagon, I don't have the alternator pulley in it, and over time it shredded the 7 rib into a 6 rib. So when I go buy a new belt, I want to make sure I have a 6 rib to ensure that we're not going to shred the belt entirely over time. So I'm going to go ahead and yeah, let's get this installed. So I'm installing the bottom bracket first. This one has 2 little spacers on the bottom, and when you buy the kit, if you run this kit, they do have their own instructions for 20 and 24. My kit is altered, so it may be a little different. This is a 5/16. Honestly, I should have Loctite this. My top bracket, I added an extra mounting point right here, just in case the bolt breaks in the housing, the whole alternator is not going to sag. There's one hardware that goes right here. I believe that is a number 6. Throw my alternator up. I'm going to secure the bottom one. Okay, something like that. Weird angle. Tied up this one, and this one. Alrighty. Hopefully we have better luck this time. The tensioner itself is pretty straightforward. Goes on right here. Got this one hardware in the bottom, and then you got this one for the top. Oh, and also with this as well. Oh, and one more thing. I was today years old that I noticed that this bolt right here is a drain for the coolant. That's good to know. And I remember my cable bracket is broken. I don't think it's even the original bracket for the transmission. I might have taken the original one off and threw it on the wagon since I did swap transmission, and it is broken anyways. But I do remember that when I got my cable bracket from Bull Boost, they sent me two. So one of these guys. Bull Boost. Here, check that out. All right, I guess I'm just gonna run this on my crusty transmission with the hardware, say less. Before you install this, make sure you tighten these bolts up right here, and you also gotta make sure how you're gonna set your cables on the bracket, whether it's the closer or the further one, based off your shift box. But I'm just gonna leave it like this, and we'll adjust it later if I have to. So the kit comes with spacers, and this is gonna vary on which spacers you use for what transmission you're installing this on. And it looks like, let me see. I must have used the hardware somewhere else because there's only two and you need three, and if you wanted to you can put four. So I'm gonna have to find another hardware. Bull Boost cable bracket installed. I think we're gonna wrap it up for today, guys. All I wanted to do, as I mentioned before, was get the engine off the stand, made it up with the transmission, and installed into the car. And because we did that so quickly yesterday, I did do a few other things like modify the rear mount. Now the engine is like firm in place. We have the Bull Boost cable bracket. We have the starter in place, the alternator with the K20A2 kit, and we are steadily making progress moving forward. I'm really stoked that the RBC intake manifold clears the hood that is provided by SlimeBall-Built, and I can't really speak on the behalf of the K24 guys. I know the K20 on the low setting with the RBC uncut on the flange fits and clears the SlimeBall hood, so I'm pretty happy about that, to be able to utilize the RBC manifold instead of spending more money for a different intake manifold. Got one of my bushings for the sway bar. I need the other one so we can install the sway bar to the subframe, but I'm not too worried about it right now. We're gonna save that when we do the entire front suspension with the 5-lug conversion. Now that I've gotten the engine in the car and I kind of assessed everything in the engine bay, there are a few more things I need to order. I still have a lot of stuff right here on the cart and stacked up back here for the sedan that we need to install, but I might work on Project Blueberry the next day or so. I have this box right here at the top that I'm going to be installing in Project Blueberry, and kind of give you a little review on that as well too, because what I'm taking out of Blueberry, I'm going to need it for this car. I might have mentioned this, I've already built the turbo kit and everything for this car, and honestly I want to turn this car on all motor first, put the all motor header on, which clears the all-wheel drive system, and build the exhaust system to that header, and then put the turbo kit on and finish the rest of the downpipe to the exhaust system. So if anything, I can switch between turbo and all motor and everything will bolt right up perfectly. So I think my goal now is just to get everything entirely put onto the car to get it ready for its first start, all motor. Anyways, I am going to wrap up this video right here. I hope you guys enjoy the progress update on the EF sedan build. I'm talking really fast because both my batteries are freaking dead. And if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a thumbs up. And if you guys want to stick around for the next video of the sedan update or Project Blueberry, be sure to hit the subscribe button. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.